the revolution that everyone is talking about. I've been thinking about this all day long, and the truth of the matter is, it is not, it doesn't end. It really is just beginning. There's something that Bernie Sanders has done. And actually, I want to go back a little further before that. It's something that Occupy Wall Street did that a lot of people, even though Occupy Wall Street is not as big and present as it's just as large, but it's not present like it used to be. Occupy Wall Street actually started something that most people thought Barack Obama was going to start in 2008. Most people thought it was going to be Obama who started this, but it was Occupy Wall Street in 2010 that actually kicked off this revolution that gave room in the national conversation for a Bernie Sanders to show up or to come back, because Bernie Sanders has been here for a very long time, right? Yes, the progressive revolution has been here, but Occupy Wall Street changed the national dialogue, changed the national conversation, and it's just beginning. If you look at the stats from last night in New York, and you see the breakdown for the people between the ages of 18 and 24, and then 24 to I believe 24 to 30, between 18 and 30, they overwhelmingly, like 80% went to Bernie Sanders in the 18 to 24 category, and then 53% went to Bernie Sanders in the up to 30 category. And then it was almost split around the 30 age. And then, of course, as you got older, it completely dropped off the precipice and they all went to Hillary Clinton. This is a trend that's happening across the country because, and I believe this was Nick last night on the show, he pointed out that millennials have completely rejected what they have been born into. All of that to say, this race for progressivism, shame on us if we let it die if Bernie Sanders doesn't win. If we allow that to be the reason that we disengage, and I'm not, like I said, I'm personally, I almost don't really care about this election anymore because it's about what happens immediately after. Even if Bernie Sanders wins, do you understand? It's completely about what happens next, because if Bernie Sanders wins and we don't replace Congress, then this progressive movement is dead on arrival. So it's not even about getting Bernie Sanders elected and thinking that the revolution has been delivered. That's just the beginning. The day after the election in 2016, that's when the fight really starts. And I'm wondering how many people will still have the energy, will still have that fire in them to actually start planning that day for 2020, for 2024, so that we can actually take and leverage the energy that's present, the revolutionary spirit that's present in the millennials, because you have to understand something. What the DNC is counting on are millennials getting older and getting disillusioned and becoming just like any neoliberal. That's what they're counting on. Because, you know, at one time, these old people who are voting for Hillary Clinton, they probably were revolutionary at one time too. And now they've just completely caved into this paradigm and they've accepted the status quo. But if the progressive movement is not alive and vibrant and present and giving people not only just something to do, but something to conquer and some victories and some wins, then those millennials who are 80% with Bernie Sanders, let me translate that. Those millennials who are 80% with the progressive movement, we can lose them over time too. So my challenge to everyone is, everyone who's disillusioned about last night, I want to actually convey to you that regardless of how this election plays out, you've got to keep that progressive fight going. And not just going, but organizing and organizing better and leveraging technology better and leveraging foot soldiers better, leveraging our money better, getting better use out of every tool that we have, because we're fighting against people, and with not just money, but with maniacal tactics that it really took this election. It really took Bernie Sanders taking it on the chin for us to completely dissect all of the shenanigans that they use to suppress progressivism. That's real. It took Bernie Sanders running. It took a white old man to run against a woman for us to completely flesh out all of the identity politics games that were going to be played by quote unquote progressives against real progressives. Bernie Sanders is out there taking it on the chin because we were not adequately prepared to fight back against their games, because we didn't realize the extent to which they were going to pull out the sexism card on crack, right? They pulled out the racism card, and Hillary Clinton's not even a minority, right? Except for being a woman, right? She has white privilege, but she has the luxury of getting this black firewall. We weren't prepared for that black firewall. We weren't prepared for David Brock. We weren't prepared for any of those things. We weren't prepared for her big dollar donor money being used to create a bigger pool of smaller dollar donations so that she can match what Bernie Sanders is doing. We weren't prepared for those games. And the reason we weren't prepared for it was because the same reason some people were not prepared for the primaries in New York. A lot of people were disengaged until the point where it was too late. And the only way progressivism is going to not only beat back against conservatism, but to beat back against the neoliberal economics of the Democratic Party, the only way we're going to leverage that and do that is if we start organizing right now, not for November of 2016, but organizing right now for November of 2018, right now for November of 2020, and November of 2024. Show me the people who are going to show up for duty after this election, and I'll show you the people who are going to change America.